What's good, YouTube? What's good? What's good? What's good? It is Aquarius Levi the Prophecy, and I'm back with another video. So, before I start, because I was gonna do it on my phone, but my phone be acting up, saying that I don't really have I have enough. I have a lot of storage, which I don't really have a lot of apps on my phone. But I guess the phone that I have doesn't the memory card is very low on it, so it can only hold so much, you know, apps, whatever. But today's video is about the New York Giants. Now, the team that I grew up watching around 2004, I would probably say this team has changed drastically. This team is not the same as it once was. Um, we we had Eli Manning, or we had Eli Manning for a very long time. We was trying to find we was trying to find his predecessor. We was trying to find his replacement. Um, but it just wasn't working out. Out of all the teams in our division, we were the only ones that was fortunate enough to have Eli Manning for those years. Um, Dude never got hurt, even though he was never a regular season quarterback. He made he made it his business to perform on the biggest levels, right? I mean, sometimes it may not always go his way, um, but he made sure that he made his statement because he wanted to get out of his big brother's shadow when he won his first Super Bowl, right? So it was all on Eli. Can Eli live up to his family name? Which he did. He won one Super Bowl. A lot of people say it was a fluke, it was fake, this and that. It was luck. And then after that, 4 years later, he proved it again. Same team, same quarterback. Different weapons on Tom Brady's side. But other than that, we also had a few changes as well, right? And we still won. So now Eli Manning was sitting with 2 rings. Now we could say, okay, Eli Manning is an elite quarterback. He's elite. Even though Skip Bayless didn't want to admit it, he was elite. Even Shannon Sharp don't believe Eli Manning should be in the Hall of Fame. Because of those 2 Super Bowls, they have to put him in the Hall of Fame. Because he's the one who went out there and made those throws. Yes, he had one good defense that 2007 season. After that, the 2012 season wasn't really all too good. Our defense was not good at all. Um, but we turned it up when we needed to turn it up. And when we got pressure, when we needed to get pressure, we needed to get pressure. JPP, OC, Tuck. Obviously Strahan retired. It wasn't easy replacing Strahan, obviously. But we went out there with our 4-3 scheme and we got it done, you know. Um, but over the years, Eli Manning digressed badly. We couldn't really replace him because year after year, we was just not in the right frame of drafting a quarterback. Sometimes we draft quarterbacks high, sometimes we draft them too high. We didn't have the right pick, or we wasn't in the best situation to pick a quarterback. And when we did, we drafted, obviously, we picked them in the 4th round, 5th round, 6th round and stuff like that. But when we picked Daniel Jones, where we picked him, everybody was flipping out. Everybody was flipping out. Even though Eli Manning was on his last legs, his mechanics was not there no more. He just looked shot and dead. He looked like a dog that you had to put out, his misery. Um, I think his name is Lenny. I forgot. It was a book I was reading. I would say Tom Sawyer, but it wasn't Tom Sawyer. But it was one of the books that I was reading where he had to put the dog down because he had rabies, you know. Um, but yeah, after that, we just failed to replace him. You know, even though you look at how other teams are able to replace their quarterbacks, but we can't. You look at the Steelers. When Bill Roethlisberger retired, they replaced him with their predecessor. 49ers, when they got rid of Alex Smith, they got rid of Alex Smith. They replaced him with Colin Kaepernick. Green Bay Packers, when they moved on from Aaron Rodgers, they replaced him with Jordan Love. We tried that with Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones, we have some questions about Daniel Jones at first. At first, it was like, you know, it's Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like, just give him a shot, give him a chance. He wowed everybody. He wowed everybody. He still had Eli Manning was still there. Um, Fortunately, he was able to play his last remaining games, and he finished above 500, right, with a record of 156 to 156. Okay, we have failed to replace Eli Manning's predecessor, and then we had quarterbacks that didn't pan out. I'm not going to go down through the list. I already know who the quarterbacks are. Um, and it just got worse. I think we went through like a 5-year gap where we were just bad, going 7-9, 7-9, 6-10, 6-12. Until we popped that 2016 season. We won 11 games despite our offense being bulimic because of our defense. Because obviously we had to go out there and spend money, right? We had to go out there and spend money on the defensive end or on the defensive side of the ball, and we won 11 games because of that. And when we couldn't get it done in the playoffs, our defense just said, "Fuck it." Our defense said, "F it." We tried. Like we could only do this for so long. You know, like your defense can play good for so long until your offense is not clicking. Odell dropped like two huge crucial touchdowns that could have tied the game. Starting Shepard, Victor Cruz. They all They all was bad. Not one of them were great. You know, like King, our six string receiver caught a touchdown before Odell Beckham Jr. And Odell Beckham Jr. was our leading receiver through the year. He won Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and for him to go out there and drop balls and look at his hands on the sideline and doing all this extra stuff, it was just bad. So I knew Eli Manning was not going anywhere. There was rumors that he wanted to play with Tom Coughlin because Tom Coughlin um, was with the Jaguars at the time, and I believe we did face the Jaguars that year. I think it was around 2015. I'm not sure, or 17 or 18. One of those years, we wind up losing to them, I believe. Um, Hold on, let me check. New York, let's see, New York Giants versus Jags. Was it 2021 or 2022? No, I think it was 2022, not 2021. Okay, so And I think it was 27. I think it was 2018. Was it 2018? No, 2019. I think it was 2019. Yeah, I think we beat them like 23-17 on October 23rd, 2000 and let me look at the schedule. So I remember we did face them week 1. Yeah, we finished 11-5. No, we finished 5-11. So yeah, so anyways, so we just failed to replace Eli. We tried it with Daniel Jones. He didn't work. He showed promise. He won us a playoff game last year. And then this year, injuries just took a toll. He just wasn't the same. He tried to come back, and then he just, got injured again. So we just shut him down for the rest of the season. Now, what the Giants have to do now is that they don't want to draft a quarterback because they still believe that Daniel Jones have it, right? They still believe that Daniel Jones is the guy. They don't want to draft a quarterback and have this quarterback controversy about, oh, he should start over Daniel Jones. We all know Daniel Jones is not going to make it a full 18th season. You might as well just put the rookie in there, not obviously having no practice with the ones or twos, especially with the ones, learning the playbook. So he's probably going to sit behind Daniel Jones and whoever quarterbacks are there next year, because I don't think Tyrod Taylor is going to be there next year. I don't think Danny DeVito is going to be there next year. So, the quarterback is another the quarterback is another glaring need that we need to go far. But obviously, they still need to put pieces around that quarterback. The running game has been non-existent. We need to get better there. The wide receivers, I think we probably need several more wide receivers, probably through the draft, free agency. Um, the offensive line needs a big help. Special teams need a big help. Defense. There were games this year. There were games this year where we got blown out. You know, there was some games where we kept it close. We fought. We were down big, came back, either won it or lost it. So the defense have been inconsistent at times. Um, but yeah, I really don't know what happened to this football team. I mean, I used to enjoy watching the Giants every Sunday because I knew they was going to come. They had a good running game, they had a good defense, they had a good solid receiving core, they had a good tight end. We don't even have that anymore. It's like the Giants have rebirthed themselves into something that's not them. Like the Giants in the 4-3 or the Giants in the 3-4. Like, when is the last time the Giants played in the 3-4? When they had Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks, that's the last time they played in the 3-4. Now, obviously, yeah, they did mix it up a few times. But when you're playing in a 3-4, you have to have athletic linebackers. You have to have a Michael Parsons. You have to have these young talent rivals, not young talent, but just young linebackers that can, go sideline to sideline. And I know the Giants are timid to replace Lawrence Taylor, but Lawrence Taylor was not a linebacker. He was an outside linebacker. So he played on the weak end of the field. That was his job. His job. I think the middle linebacker or the inside linebacker or middle linebacker. The middle linebacker is the captain of the team. He makes everybody jobs much easier. He pinpoints where everybody must be at all times. The back end, the front end, right? My head coach used to say the back end has to work with the front end, or the front end has to work with the back end. I never knew what that meant until he broke it down to me. Like like you see how the quarterback is the captain of the offense, where the linebacker is the captain of their defense. And it's kind of like the middle linebacker puts you in position and everybody else to succeed. You know, like where your spots is and this and that and the third. You know, so when we don't have a leader, and that's something that we lacked in the defensive side was a leader. Look at those two Super Bowl runs that we had. We had leadership. We had veteranship. We don't have veteranship on the leader on the defensive side. You know, I mean, we had a Chris Canty, we had a Colin Jenkins, we had a not Levi, we had a Justin Tug, OC. We had veteran leadership. You know, when we won it the first time, we had a Michael Strahan. You know, like we had a young Tuck. You know, so it was just mixed with youth and knowledge. You know, um, but now it's like, I don't even know this team anymore. I mean, if you look at the 49ers a couple of years ago, they were trash. They were trash. They cleaned house. They fired the GM, fired head coach. They retooled everything. And now look at them. It's like they never missed a beat. And they're always going to be in the conversation no matter what. I just think that they'll never win another Super Bowl. I mean, they can make as many Super Bowl trips as they want. But I think that window of winning another Super Bowl is closed until they put it together for 4 quarters without doing any dumb mistakes. Um, I think they can win it. I'm not saying it's possible, but because when you win so much during the '80s, you know, it's like give another team a shot, right? Like the Eagles when they won their first title. Yeah, they wanted to repeat, but they couldn't because obviously it's not really hard to compete. Or it's not really hard to repeat. You just have to do it again and again and again and again, just like the Patriots. Because if the Patriots can repeat, you could repeat. You know, they just retooled. You know, it wasn't worried about building, or they wasn't worrying about signing big free agents. You know, they took a lot of pay cuts and it worked. You know, it worked. So what the Giants need to do is a lot of things. Unfortunately, it's out of my hands because I'm just a fan at the end of the day. You know, I'm just a fan at the end of the day. I'll leave that to the front office, and if the front office continues to mess up and don't do it right, then they should just sell the team. Sell the team. Because obviously the New York Giants are one of the historic franchises in the NFL, but they haven't been playing as lately. It sucks. You know, like when the Giants are winning, it's good for the NFL because the NFL need more big market teams instead of moving teams to new cities, thinking that they're gonna, you know, play better. I mean, the Rams haven't played had their the I mean certain teams haven't really been playing very well when they move to their different cities, but it's a fresh of new air. It's a breath is a brush fresh is a fresh breath of new air, I mean look at the Las Vegas Raiders. They picked up Antonio Pierce, who's our best linebacker at the time, you know. Um He had to retire due to a bulging neck disc in his neck. So, the Giants didn't. think about hiring him. Maybe they thought that he didn't have what it takes, or maybe they thought that he doesn't have the head coach ability. Look at them now. Look at them now. Like they're better than the New York Giants right now on paper, and it's not even close. You know, like I hate when Giants fans go out their way to say, "Oh, we're better than that team." Oh, if we did things this way, we would have won. First of all, y'all laid an egg on national TV. Week one at home, which obviously the Giants never do well at home, anyways. Week one at home with the whole world watching, y'all laid a big fat egg. Y'all let the Dallas Cowboys score 40, 40 to nothing, with everybody not even 100%. Or, yeah, I'll take that back, with everybody 100%. I don't know if it had to do with the aftermath of 9/11. I don't know, but they look out of sync. They look like they didn't even want to go out there and play, you know? And I get it. 9/11 was a huge, huge event in America. You know, a lot of people lost their lives that year, and you feel like, you felt like, damn, I don't even want to play, But they had to play too. They had to play just like you had to play. And y'all got stomped. Now, obviously, week two, y'all bounced back against the Cardinals, which y'all were down like 17 to nothing, and then y'all came back and won, I think 21 to 17. And then y'all lost, and then y'all lost to the 49ers on a short week, and then after that, it just steamrolled. Y'all just lost game after game after game after game after game. And then that 15 seconds of fame, Danny DeVito, y'all was, Danny DeVito and this and that. And I came on here and said that, look, I've seen this before. This is Tim Tebow all over again. This is who else could I say? It was Johnny Manziel all over again. You remember he was doing all that to players every time he scored a touchdown? And look what happened. He got exposed. So every time he got sacked, guess what defenders did in his face? They did the little money sign, right? That shit died out real quick. Stupidity and stupidity in the NFL do not last. Look at Tim Tebow. No, obviously Tim Tebow, he didn't deserve what he got. I respected Tim Tebow because I used to watch a lot of his games, and that dude can play. The dude can play football. He just couldn't do it on a professional level, sadly. Now, obviously, he did get his break by going to Denver, and he made the most out of it, winning a playoff game. But after that, he wound up getting blown out against the Patriots. And then after that, he was just a shell of himself. He wasn't the same no more. You know, um, So it is what it is. It is what it is. But something has got to change. You know, and I was watching Ron Effect, who I kind of respected, but when he came back from that break, or when he came back from that break, he wasn't the same Ron Effect. You know, um, he wasn't the same Ron Effect, and he came at me. He came at me weird. He said, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking. You don't know football. This and that and the third." It's like, and I told him, like, how do you think bad teams get so bad? Is it scheduling? Is it strength of schedule? Like, how does a team go from winning a playoff game to losing the way that they did week one and getting steamrolled over and over and over? Like, how can one team be so good this year and be so poorly next year? I thought you build from that. I thought you build off of that. I thought what you did last year, you was gonna duplicate that, you know? But no, they digressed. And you thinking, okay, 2024 is gonna be the new year. No. I have news for y'all. The New York Giants right now are not able to do anything right now. They don't have their quarterback, even though I still don't think Daniel Jones is the answer. And I said Daniel Jones was going to have a bounce back year this year. I was wrong. I also said that the Giants was going to miss the playoffs this year. I was right. So I guess I was 1 out of 1. Because I'm pretty sure if you asked every Giants fan coming into this year, they would probably say that the Giants were going to go to the playoffs again, right? Sadly mistaken. Sadly, they didn't. Um, but Daniel Jones had to prove himself once again, right? Now, again, I believe it wasn't the money. I don't think Daniel Jones is that type to, I don't think he's greedy about money. I think it was just more of the production. I think it was more of him just going out there and living up to high expectations. Because obviously Eli Manning has set the standards, right? Winning 2 Super Bowls in New York will save your career. Being mediocre or winning one playoff game is not enough, right? Winning one playoff game is not enough. So I believe that the Giants' answers are in this draft. Now, whether or not they do wind up picking fifth, which they will stay at number 5, because at first they was at number 3, right? They had the third pick, right? And then after that, they lost like, no, they won like 4 straight. They had that little 3-game winning streak where they beat their Washington Commanders, Packers, and then uh, Patriots. That kind of hurt them a little bit, you know. So they went from third all the way to eighth, and then after that, they had a little bit of help from different teams. Different teams lost, so that kind of catapulted them to number 5 again. So with the fifth pick, which are still in the top 10, which is good for me, because like I told Ron Effect, you have to play bad. I don't care who you are. I don't care what team you are. You have to play bad. This is why we have the damn draft each and every year. We don't have the draft for no reason. We have drafts so bad teams could get good, right? Like, what if the NFL didn't have a draft? How can bad teams get bad? Or how can bad teams get good? This is not 10 years ago where you draft a player and he uplifts your career or your team, unless he's a quarterback. Everybody was looking for the next Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Sean Taylor, God rest his soul. Everybody was looking for the next Brian Dawkins. It's hard to replace defensive players. It really is. I mean, you can find another Patrick Mahomes in the play in the draft. You can find another Josh Allen you can find another Lamar Jackson. But here's what you won't find. You won't find another Eli Payton, Big Ben, Drew Brees, Philip Rivers. You won't find these old heads in the draft no more. Those quarterbacks are long gone. Everybody wants a dual threat running back. I mean, a dual threat quarterback now. Everybody wants a quarterback that can run, that can pass, that can do it all, right? We went from standard quarterbacks to now mobile quarterbacks. We want quarterbacks that can do it all. That's the direction the NFL's heading towards. And we thought we found that in Daniel Jones coming out of Duke. But, sadly mistaken, Duke was not a good team to develop quarterbacks at all. I mean, every time I used to watch college, Duke would get blown out 64-0, 31-0. It was a bad program at all. Even way before Daniel Jones got there, they were a bad program. They're more of a basketball team now than they are football, but it is what it is. But it was just bad. It was just bad. Um, but it doesn't really matter where you get drafted or which college you go to. Just come and produce. Just come and produce. Look at Brock Purdy. I mean, he got passed up on all those teams, and now teams are wishing that they would have drafted him, kind of like Tom Brady. He had that little chip on the shoulder. Like, okay, y'all passed me. Okay, whatever team y'all pick, whatever team picks me up, y'all gonna feel sorry. Browns feel sorry. Broncos feel sorry. Jets feel sorry. And look at that, he wound up winning 7 Super Bowls. So at the end of the day, this Giants team is not going anywhere, and I have so much. I have so much to give that it's not even funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have so much to give, it's not even funny. Y'all are expecting the Giants to get better this year, next year, right? Despite what happened in the draft, free agency, which is in March, as always, y'all expect the Giants to make a bounce back season next year, right? With the draft picks that they got or have now, it's impossible to fix this team. It's going to take time for this team to get good again. Because for one, Daniel Jones have to stay healthy. If Daniel Jones go down again, this team is going to self-destruct again. Now, I'm not saying that Daniel Jones was the glue to this team, but last year, if you look at last year, we had the most easy. Well, I'm not going to say we had the most easiest schedule because the Giants never have an easy schedule. But we were facing teams that either was last in the division, finished last in the division, or had a bad record. I mean, if you look at the Giants' schedule last year, we were facing the Bears, the Panthers. We only faced like one good. I think we only faced like 2 good teams, and that was the Ravens, who came to MetLife Stadium. We beat them, and I forgot what other team that we faced. That was good, but other than that, most of the teams was just bad. You know, and then you look at this year's strength of schedule. We had the 5th hardest schedule, 5th. So strength of schedule does matter. That's why it's very hard to compete, or it's hard. It's very hard to repeat because of strength of schedule. Like, I don't think nobody is rigging sports or rigging games. It all lies on the strength of schedule. The strength of schedule will tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl or who's not going to win the Super Bowl. Look how many teams that won the Super Bowl and never went back. The Giants went back. The Giants won it the first time in 2007. Try to repeat. Plaxico Burress shot himself. The Steelers tried to repeat. The Saints, Drew Brees' first Super Bowl and only Super Bowl, tried to repeat, didn't. Strength of schedule. So I'm not gonna stay on here too long, but the Giants need a lot of help. And I don't think the draft is going to help them per se. It will. Don't get me twisted. It will. But if we're looking at this realistically, how many draft picks do the Giants have? Because I know they gave I know they gave a draft pick, or I think it was a swap draft pick to the Seahawks. I think it was a 3rd round swap. So we gave them our 3rd round pick and then Leonard Williams for their 3rd round pick. But I don't think the draft is going to help us because this team has so much to do. It's crazy. and it's not going to get turned around pretty soon. This offensive line is still going to be a problem until we can address it. You know, the wide receivers, you know, the running backs, you know, can we have a consistent running game behind Saquon Barkley? You know, because the Giants' running game has never been an issue. Ever since I was a fan, it's never been an issue. Tiki, Rondé, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Brandon Jacobs, Jamal Bradshaw, Derek Ward. It's never been an issue. Our issue was we would always have a hard time scoring. And the Giants was never good on offense. There was never a dominant offensive team. Throughout Bill Parcells, Tom Coughlin, they have never been an offensive juggernaut. They've always been heavy on defense. I mean, look how many great defensive coordinators they always had in their disposal. They always had great defensive coordinators. Why is that? How come the Giants always have good defensive coordinators but never good offensive coordinators? I mean, you could say Kevin Gilbride, that first Super Bowl run with Eli Manning, yeah. And then after that, you could say Ben McAdoo. I mean, Eli Manning had his best statistical season under Ben McAdoo, but it didn't last. I mean, sometimes Brian Daboll called plays, sometimes it came from upstairs. Sometimes he called plays, sometimes it goes upstairs. And you can tell when he calls plays. You can really tell. You could tell the difference between Mike Kafka play calling and Brian Daboll's play calling, right? Because we thought what Brian Daboll did to Josh Allen, he was going to do the same thing to Daniel Jones, which he did. It only worked for that 1 year, and then after that, it just went down the drain. I don't know what happened. It looked like Daniel Jones took a step further, and then after that, he just took a step back. And we do not want to be in that dilemma. We don't want to be the Jets. We don't want to be the Washington football team or Commanders. We don't want to be the Browns, even though Joe Flacco is not the answer, even though the Browns clinched a playoff spot. Even though the Browns clinched a playoff spot, Joe Flacco is not the answer. Okay, Matthew Stafford is not the answer. So, it's just it's not hard to draft a quarterback. It really isn't. I mean, I don't know what y'all be fed to or what lies y'all be fed to, but it's not hard to draft a quarterback. You can see talent. You can see talent when you see talent. It's not that hard. Because great talent comes from the tiniest of places. Look how many bad schools produce a lot of good talent. I mean, y'all always think, oh, just because he went to this college doesn't mean that, he's going to produce. Not all Alabama players produce. Some of them are the biggest floppers. LSU players, biggest floppers. But, it is what it is. I'm not going to spend too much time here. But like I said, this offseason, the Giants have a lot of soul searching to do. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time. This offensive line is not going to gel overnight. This receiving core is not going to gel overnight. I don't really care who the Giants pick at number 5. But they have to pick what they feel can move this franchise forward, whether it's the quarterback. Because think about this, right? The Giants right now are in a bit of a hole. right? They have O-line problems. They have a quarterback problem. They have a running back problem. They have a defensive problem. I mean, all year I've seen defensive players, Giants defenders missing tackles, missing tackles, missing tackles, missing tackles. I mean, there was games where they show for some flashes, but there was games where they just flat out quit. So, to me, I just think that the Giants should draft a quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do with the fifth pick. They might trade it. I don't know. Because unlike NBA draft picks, NFL draft picks are valuable, are very valuable. So, like, whoever's picking third, they're not gonna say like, "Wait a minute, why should we draft with you, or why should we trade with you?" You know, like the Patriots. The Patriots hold the third pick, right? Like, why would we draft? Why would we trade with the Giants? What does the Giants have to offer? You know, or we'll give you Daniel Jones. Well, okay, we can't give you Daniel Jones. You know, like like the other team have to negotiate. Like, okay, we'll send you this and that and this and that and that for a third round draft pick. The Patriots will look at it, consider it. Nah, we need our quarterback. Mac Jones suck. No thanks. Okay, so the Giants will probably have to stay put and pick at number 5, right? The Giants would have to sit there and pick at number 5. Now, who will they pick? I don't know. A quarterback, possibly. You know, you got pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Marvin Harrison is probably going to be coming off the board. The two quarterbacks that we all hear, one out of North Carolina, the other one out of Trojans, Cade Williams, they're probably going to go off the board. So all three of them are probably going to be off the board. So who's left? I mean, there's a lot of great talent at number 5. You could pick you could pick some good players at number 5. Because I thought that if the Giants were picking at number 8, they're screwed. So as long as the Giants are in the top 5, they're fine. They just got to find their guy. You know, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's another offensive tackle, whoever, they need to find their guy. And they're not going to immediately play him unless he's like an offensive tackle or, you know, I mean, outside of that, I mean, the Giants are not going to, sit there and, you know, draft somebody that they're not going to play right away, Have you ever heard the saying like offensive linemen are plug-in players? Like as soon as you draft them, you could just plug them in. A quarterback is going to take some time, right? Because you still got Daniel Jones. Are you going to re-sign Tyler Taylor? Are you going to re-sign Danny DeVito? So you're going to have like what, 5 quarterbacks? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Depending on what happens, if Daniel Jones does go down again. So, in my opinion, I think the Giants are going to take a quarterback. I really do think so. I think they're going to take a quarterback. Because this year's quarterback draft is going to be heavy. It's going to be quarterback heavy this year. So the Giants are going to pick their quarterback, and whether it's Caleb, not Caleb Williams, whether it's the quarterback from North Carolina, whether it's another quarterback, whoever they feel like they're comfortable with. And y'all need to stop saying the best player available. I mean, I think that crap needs to die out because every player I get is just ultimately trash. Outside of Saquon Barkley. But y'all got him in the third round though, with the third pick. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. On the road to 500. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other, and go Giants. And oh yeah, by the way, I would not be watching the the Giants and the Eagles because I'm just gonna be too busy with work and with school. So um, yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to watch it, but I will give my uh, thoughts about it when it's done. So yeah, so like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.